Humans, this is an adoption campaign, but it's not for me, or Mr. Buttons, or Frank over there. It's for you, humans. This is a call to humans to adopt our movement, to adopt our cause.
This isn't just about saving one of us.
It's about saving all of us.
Thousands of lives, every single day.
It's about support for every one of us four, and sometimes not four-legged best friends, waiting to meet a best friend of our own. With Best Friends Animal Society leading the charge.
Shelter by shelter, city by city.
We can save thousands of pets each day. Join us. Together we can save them all.
Thank you for joining us for Pet Connect. I'm Tara Douglas. I have asked one of our Sylacauga Animal Shelter workers to come on today to talk about pet safety during the 4th of July fireworks. So, Jayana Bunt, thank you so much for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
You do such a good job when you're here, so I just had to have you back on to tell us what's going on at the shelter and what we need to think about with the fireworks safety. So, many of you saw Randy yesterday talking about people and fireworks safety and a little bit about pets, but Jay and I are going to discuss different things that you might not have thought about that we need to make sure people do here in the community during these fireworks. So let's talk about that first, then we'll talk about some of the dogs available at the shelter and some of the things going on at the shelter.
Okay. So the first thing people need to think about is the safety of your pet. You don't want them just out and about running around while you're shooting off fireworks because one, they could get hit, or two, they can run off, and then majority of the time they may not come back because they're so scared. There's so many loud noises going on. And even if they are put up, you need to make sure that there's no way at all that they can get hurt. If they're in a fence or something, they could try and dig out. They could get stuck and scratch up themselves. And if they do run away, we really need to push for people to update their microchip and like an updated picture, not like a video picture or a very old picture, because then if they come down to the shelter and like, oh, my dog ran away because of the fireworks, and they give us this very old picture, we're really not going to be able to tell because we haven't known that dog or anything like that, and it's just very hard.
Yeah, it is definitely hard when you look at pets lost in Sylacauga, and some of those pictures are grainy or like you said, old when the pet was younger.
Yeah.
And it is a lot of times hard to tell what those what the pets truly look like when they go missing. But also, Jay and I were just researching some before coming on, and like she said, with the fireworks, they're loud. There's a lot of light. And so it's scary to dogs and cats. So the best thing to do is put your dogs and cats in the house. Make sure they can't get out. And like Jay was saying, when they're in a fence, they might dig out because I would imagine that's terrifying to a dog.
Or even try and jump the fence and get out.
And get hurt.
So,
yeah.
Very hurt, yeah.
And then they're running around hurt, and then we have to figure out what to do with them.
Oh, yeah.
So really think that through. And of course, fireworks are going on before the 4th, so just think about where you can put your dogs. We also read something about how you can desensitize them. You can start playing some different firework recordings to see if you can get them to where they're a little more used to it. You can also just put them in a place where they feel safe and start playing some white noise or something to where it can drown out everything that's going on outside. Because let's talk about when a dog or cat does escape. We'll see it on Pets Lost in Sylacauga, so of course you've got that avenue. You can put it on Facebook and a lot of your neighbors can find it. But what happens when they come to the shelter?
So first thing that happens is majority of the time it's a person saying, oh, this dog or cat wandered up on my property. I've been taking care of it, but I can't, such and such. So we'll end up taking in the animal. We'll post it on Facebook saying that stray animal, it's on hold for 7 days until somebody does come and claim it. If they don't, then we will put it up for adoption. Now, if they do come and claim it, people need to keep in mind that we're not just going to give it back for free because it is our food, our vaccines, we're caring for it and stuff like that. So there is a $50 reclaim fee, and then if your dog is not up to date on rabies or don't even have it at all, there is a $25 because majority of the time it is $25, like at Dr. Baxley's, to
Okay.
get them a rabies shot.
Okay.
So it's going to be about $75 to get your animal back, and we only do cash or check.
Okay.
So.
And people have to understand, like you said, there's a lot that has to happen. So even though your dog has been to a vet, your dog has been vaccinated, has rabies, and that is your pet, the shelter doesn't know that. So I imagine people get upset with you, but at the same
yeah.
time, they don't know that that's your pet. It could be any stray dog from the street that comes in. And so the vaccines have to be given. There are a lot of things that have to be done to protect the other animals in the shelter, to
yeah.
make sure that you're bringing in a dog or a cat that is not going to create any kind of other problems and other
Yeah.
health concerns in the
Yeah.
shelter. So there's a lot that the shelter has to do. So keep that in mind. But like you said, that if you make sure that you have identification on your dog, so if you have, or cat, if you have a tag that has your information, Jonathan and I have 2 fosters that had to go to boarding, and we don't have tags for them, obviously, but she said even if we just wrote our phone number on the collar, that in case they got away from her, then we would know
Yeah.
that it was, that then people would see that number and know to call to let them know they have the dog.
Yeah.
So even better, let's talk about microchipping. 'Cause have you had many dogs come into the shelter that have been microchipped?
As long as I've been there, no, but we will always scan to make sure, and normally if they do, it'll give us the address and the phone number, and we would just call and let them know. But even just because there's fireworks going on, people need to think about just in general, because you can lose your dog regardless of fireworks. They can run off, see something, chase it, especially when females go into heat, and if your dog's not fixed, they can smell it from miles away and they'll run off to it, and then it's very hard to get them back. So people need to think about microchipping, the collars with numbers, your name, stuff like that, because they can run off at any given moment, and then you have to pay all this money to get your dog back, and a lot of people don't want to do that. So
It's, yeah, and I imagine, now you were at the shelter last summer. Did you have a lot of dogs and cats come in after the fireworks, or were a lot of people calling saying they'd lost their dogs?
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So, but like Jay said, this is something we need to be thinking about throughout the year. I mean, anything can happen to your dog or cat, and it's so important to have them identified. And you know, the microchip is a great way to do it, but you know, you can also have the information on your collar, just so that
Yeah.
if someone sees that dog or cat, they know, okay, this is someone's dog or cat, and we need to find out how to get in touch with them and get the animal back to them.
Yeah, there's cheaper alternatives.
There are.
So,
But you touched on something else that I always want to mention here. Of course, if your female dog or cat's in heat, it can bring in dogs from all over. But if we all get our dogs fixed, we're going to have fewer problems with too many dogs at the shelter.
Oh, yeah.
Because the shelter's full right now.
oh yeah,
You've got and you have how many dogs that have given birth in the shelter right now?
3 mama dogs.
So they have 3 mama dogs right now. And how many puppies between the 3 dogs?
So I would say at least 12 or 15, right around that
Okay.
area.
So, I mean, and that puts a lot of stress on the shelter, a lot of stress on all of you who work at the shelter, stress on the mama dog, stress on the puppies. So, you know, if we had more and more people getting their pets fixed, and, you know, keep in mind, we always have the low-cost spay and neuter vouchers for sale at Mutt Cuts. So that's at 210 Calhoun Avenue. And then we also are having every quarter an even lower cost voucher sale. And so we try to make it as easy as possible. And if you need any help, then contact the Feral Dogs of Avondale Mill. We can give you all kinds of information and try to figure out a way to make that work, because
Yeah.
that's the only way the shelter's not going to be overrun with dogs and cats.
Right.
Now we've got, so we've talked about the fireworks safety and what we need to do to try to just please keep your animals inside, at least for the 4th of July, or you know,
Yeah.
if you hear fireworks going off around you, check on them, get them inside, calm them down. But let's talk about some of the dogs that are available at the shelter. We've got some pictures of some different ones, because you've got those baby puppies we talked about, you've got adolescent dogs, you've got adult dogs, you've got something for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
So here's Ellie right here. Let's talk about Ellie's personality. She was so sweet when we walked dogs last weekend.
She is. She at first was scared. She was very scared. She didn't really like a leash. She'd go crazy. But now she runs out with a very large play group that they all get along very good, and she's not hyper, but she is very playful, and she's just super
And so
sweet.
she would do fine in a household with another dog.
She
it
was.
sounds
She is
like.
very dog friendly.
Okay. And people friendly, because
Yes.
she seemed to love everybody. Now Shadow's pretty young. Tell us about Shadow.
So Shadow's probably at least a month, maybe a month and a half. But he's just a big old fluff ball. He's got a lot of energy too. He also gets along with other dogs as well.
He looks like a bear.
He is.
Yeah, he was one of the Walker favorites. And now Violet was my favorite last weekend. So let's talk about Violet, because
So-
she's how old now?
Probably a month or
Okay.
two.
Yeah,
Two,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So she actually bunks with Sunny, and everybody thinks that's her mom, but it's not. They just ended up being really good playmates, so they're kennel mates. But she's a little feisty. She don't let nobody pick on her, because she goes out with the large group too, and there's a little bit bigger dogs in there. But she gets along with other dogs. She's a little feisty, but she's not mean. Super sweet, super friendly.
Yes, she was so sweet. And I wish I had a picture of Sunny that's in the kennel with her, because Sunny's a beautiful dog
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Maybe I'll make Sunny
Sunny is a
pet of the
good
week next week. So
Yes.
now here's Fluffy, right? Is that this
Fluffy.
big dog's name?
Yeah.
Now, where did Fluffy come from? Is this an
I
animal control
bel-
pickup?
Believe something happened with her owners.
Okay.
And they ended up having to give her back to us. Nobody could care for her.
Okay.
So she has two other kennel mates, Scout and Talkie.
Okay.
And they get along really good. She's a very jumpy dog, but she is dog friendly, and she's not food aggressive or anything like that. And she's super sweet.
She's a beautiful dog.
She is
so
very
hopefully we'll be able to
beautiful.
find her home or rescue soon. Now this little pup, Sierra, but y'all don't even call her Sierra, do you?
No, we call her little corgi girl.
So tell me about her.
So she actually came in with three other, I believe they were either one of them was her sister, and I believe the other two were her puppies.
Okay.
But they unfortunately didn't make it because of parvo, but
Okay.
the other one did get adopted.
Okay.
So ever since then, she's kind of been very sad back
kinda
there by
depressed,
herself.
yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll let her in the lobby and stuff, let her run around and play, and she loves it. She's very happy to be out of there.
Yeah.
Now she is one of those well-mannered. They don't really like a lot of hyperness, so she would be good for other dogs, but not a very hyper dog.
Okay.
She doesn't snap or anything, but you can tell she's kind of
She's
like
not enjoying. So she might do well in a
like
quiet
it.
household
Right.
with
Oh,
no
yeah.
kids, or maybe even no other dog.
Yeah.
But I noticed when I was getting the dogs out for the walkers that she was kind of just in the back of the kennel, just a little bit sad, and just
Yeah,
like, I
she
don't really.
doesn't-
But then she was happy to come out and walk,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I came around with treats, and she was happy to get up and
Oh,
come get
yeah.
a treat. So, it's But as you can see with these pictures, well, there's Bandit. Let's talk about. We didn't talk about Bandit yet, did we?
No.
So, tell me about Bandit.
So Bandit, he's a very well-mannered dog. He'll sit, he does listen, he's not hyper at all. So far he gets along with fixed females. We don't know about males, but when they walk by or anything, he doesn't go crazy or anything, so it's just a test kind of see thing. But he's super sweet and friendly, so.
Well, I wanted to show some of these pictures because you can see at the shelter they have a variety of dogs. We've got young ones, we've got older ones, we've got small ones, got big ones, and they're all just really sweet dogs with all kinds of great personalities. So, and the great thing is that the shelter staff, you take so much time with them that you do have a lot of information about their personalities, and you are able to dog test them and see how they do with other dogs, and kids come out and walk, and all the walkers get to go out. So we really have some great information. So if somebody's interested in adopting, then we've got some good personality traits, and we've got some things that we can share so that we can try to successfully have you find the right dog for you. Now let's talk about what's the adoption fee,
$120 cash or check.
and that covers all vaccines and the dog to be fixed.
Yes,
And
yes.
then let's also discuss. So we talked about if someone's dog comes in as $50. Now, if anybody, let's go back to the adoption. If someone wants to adopt, they can do a foster to adopt situation.
They can, yes.
So,
It's a lot easier because majority of this time, these people don't come in here and really think about, oh, how is this going to work at home? If it doesn't work out, what do I do? So we try and push for foster to adopt. That way, if it doesn't work out, bring it back to us, we'll try again.
Okay.
To where if you do full out adopt that dog, it does not work out, yeah, you bring us the dog back, but we don't do money refunds,
Okay.
so you just lost your money if it
Okay.
doesn't work out. So we try and push for the foster to adopt and also to actually walk that dog, spend time with it, see how its personality is. That way you'll know what you're getting into and how it's going to react.
Okay. And with that said, come out to the shelter this Saturday and walk. You get to meet lots of dogs. Even if you're not interested in adopting, you can really have fun out there walking the dogs and give those dogs a treat where they can get out of the kennels and give the shelter staff some help with that. So come out this Saturday. It's our first Saturday where we're going to walk earlier. So we're going to walk at 9:30 to stay out of the heat a little better. And so we'll still be there around 11 if you forget, but we'll be finishing up at that time. So just make sure to come out this Saturday, 9:30, help us walk the dogs, and please keep your dogs and cats safe during fireworks time here, and have a wonderful 4th. And thank you again, Jay, for coming
You're
on the
welcome.
show and sharing all this information with us, and we'll have you back on here soon. Okay. And we'll have more Daybreak after these messages.